Today I want to resolve a paradox that has caused me to feel, admittedly, too much unnecessary shame since I was a little girl. And that is, why do so many people, me included, keep watching reality TV while knowing and telling ourselves that it's trash TV and that there's so much better that I could do with my time? The first time I came upon reality TV, I was maybe like 11, 12 at most, and I was in middle school, and it was the holidays and there was nothing to do during the summer. And so I flipped the channel and I find this TV show where a bunch of young people in their 20s, seemingly, were in this huge, amazing summer villa with a pool and everything, and everybody was in swimsuits. And what really piqued my interest was the fact that this wasn't just a show, like it wasn't scripted at all. It felt like it was just normal people, and I had never come across that type of concept. I was pretty fascinated from the start, and I remember that there was just a lot of fighting and a lot of flirting. Just as vividly, I remember my dad coming in maybe like not too long, like 15 minutes later, and just looking at the TV and then looking at me and being like, switch the channel, this is not for kids, and it's also just like really dumb and bad for your brain. And so I registered that and I switched the channel. But the thing is, during that holiday, like I was allowed kind of, and the time to watch TV for me was kind of the same time every day. And so the next day I came to watch TV and the same show was on TV. And from that day on, I remember like that became my little happy time that during the holiday, like I would just go get an ice cream and watch that show. I was hooked. And nobody really forced me to change the channel or forbade me in a really strict way to not watch that show. But I do remember that like when adults would pass in the living room, they would look at me with a very judgmental look. As a result, from that moment till this day, the relationship I have with reality TV is one that is on one side, like it's fascination and fun. And on the other side, it's shame. It's kind of like my guilty pleasure, which that's truly the relationship that you have with anything that's a little bit addictive and not really good for you. To be honest, I'm not like an avid watcher or anything. I'll try to put around me like the shows that I've watched that I've been like the most invested in. There were a few, but the thing is, I know of a lot of people, even in my life, that watch a lot more reality TV than me. And most of them are very far from stupid. And I say that because that's the first time that it piqued my interest, because that didn't go with what I was told about reality TV. And that's the first time I wondered, I wonder why so many of us just like, and even the people I know who are smart, like why we keep watching this trash TV. And when you look at the numbers and the statistics, it's really one of the genres that transcends nationality, race, class, and surprisingly, even gender. Like I have friends who are straight men who, when they're alone sometimes in their free time, they'll watch a reality TV. Nonetheless, like admittedly, it's not surprising why reality TV has acquired the negative connotation that it has now, because it does often feature very superficial presenting people who kind of look like just like personified caricatures of human obsession with fame, material goods, and lust. And also, when you think of reality TV, you think of drama and you think of sex, and both of these things are kind of looked down upon in society. But then the question is why? Like, why are so many of us tuning into this lowbrow, unsophisticated, junk food equivalent of TV? Why do we use our increasingly rare and precious free time to do this instead of any other activity that we could be doing? Or even, why do we choose that when we want to watch something instead of any other show or movie out there that, let's say, is a lot more thrilling or entertaining or thought-provoking? The first reason why so many of us are fascinated by reality TV is related to something called voyeurism, which is the term often applies to people who like to watch other people having sex, but it also applies to just when that pleasure, that weird pleasure that you feel when you're watching, or at least fascination or interest that you feel when you're watching other people's private lives. Because when you think about it, it makes sense why reality TV is so exciting and intriguing, because in real life, when do you have an opportunity to watch strangers and their intimate and interpersonal relationships just unfold like this? Like, when do you get to see people flirt and fight who are not related to you in any way, and you get to see them in 4K and you get to listen to them with like amazing audio? You literally become a fly on the wall. It's that fantasy of being a fly on the wall sometimes. It's made possible through reality TV. This is also why, while watching reality TV, most of us have at some point experienced catharsis, meaning the release of repressed emotions through the experience of watching reality TV. Most of us, and for good reason, hide a lot of our private lives when we go out in public. You might be going at any point in time in your private life through things and issues that are making you feel turmoil and insecurity and rage, sadness, jealousy, despair. Since most of us put that to the side when we go to work or school or do our hobbies, because we are taught that, and that's actually necessary for society to work. The problem is that it's easy for us to then feel very frustrated and have these repressed emotions that are kind of like hurting us inside, and also to feel alone because we're unable to just express that. As such, the catharsis from watching reality TV can actually be pretty powerful, satisfying, and even liberating. Watching people express these ugly emotions in such an unrestricted and shameless and free way, that feels amazing. And even if it doesn't feel amazing, at least sometimes you get the feeling of like, wow, like I would be too embarrassed to express these thoughts like that. Yeah, you're just fascinated. Okay, I just realized this as I was like rereading my script, but for points 2, 3, and 4 that are gonna come, these also apply to celebrities and the way the public interacts with celebrities. So that's just something extra and interesting to think about. While we might feel catharsis upon seeing these reality TV people just like express themselves without any apparent restraint, at other times, a lot of us also feel triggered by certain of their words and actions. Therefore, whether we end up feeling comfort or discomfort while watching these reality TV people, we're still, at the end of the day, we're still judging them. When you think about it, these people's unofficial task is to serve as mirrors and projections for the public. Reality TV is a source of free gossip, justified gossip even, you might argue. I think it's the whole point. But that's not all. Let's take it a step further. Now that we live online, this has been blown out of proportion, and reality TV, every single time a reality TV becomes really famous, as it airs, you see that it truly serves as a social thermostat. And one proof of that is that from one reality TV that was in 2021 to one reality TV that is in 2025, the same fights that will happen in both reality TVs will garner a really different online public response, reflecting the social trends of those times. And just like with a thermostat, a lot of people will just like look at the reigning and most popular opinions online at a certain time regarding this particular fight in this show that is airing right now. And they will subconsciously often adjust accordingly and just subconsciously be like, oh, okay, so this is now the public opinion on this issue. So on the issue of cheating, or on the issue of girl code or bro code, etc. Honestly, like when I see the way a lot of these reality TV contestants are crucified online during and after the show, I do feel like, first of all, any money they receive, like they do deserve fully, because like they become people like this, the public's scapegoat at that time. And I know a lot of people will say, yeah, but they choose to do so. But let's not forget, like these are young people, and the way reality TV is sold online for many people in this economy and the current world we live in come from like difficult backgrounds, and for them it feels like a golden ticket. And two, nobody is ever prepared enough for cyberbullying and death threats. Like, no, that is never what they sign up for. If it was just constructive criticism and people being like, I don't agree with this because whatever, okay. But it always goes too far, and it's not a coincidence why so many reality TV people around the world, like a bunch of different countries, a lot of them after the show, like, develop addictions and sometimes take their lives. Let's not forget that at the end of the day, this is just entertainment. And if you don't like them, like sometimes I'll start a TV show and I'll just be like, oh my God, I can't stand the people. I'll just stop watching the show. It's that simple. The third reason why reality TV is very rewarding and even tempting, even if you don't really like it, is because of community and bonding. On TikTok, I found this amazing account. It's this girl who goes by internet anthropology. And she was talking about the phenomenon whereby recently, because of the internet and how social media works, society has been a little bit fractured in these thousands and hundreds of niche interests. Also, there's so many different streaming platforms now that nobody's really watching ever the same show. Because back in the day, there were a lot less options, which sounds like less good, but on the flip side, it was amazing because you would go to work and to school and you would be able to bond with people and talk about the shows that you were all watching. Even when meeting strangers, it was such a good subject and topic of small talk. It was such a good icebreaker. And even though I love just how easy for us now it is to just have access to any show, I do kind of miss it and I feel nostalgic because now when I meet up with my friends, it is bittersweet because we're all watching different shows and we just like kind of share a little bit of information about the shows that we're each watching, and every time we just end up recommending to each other the shows that we're watching, and nobody ever watches the recommendations. Let's be real. And that is why I think reality TV is so attractive, because a lot of people also miss this feeling. And since, like we said, reality TV triggers a lot of emotions in you, and also like, because it's real people, it feels a lot more real, so you're gonna project a lot more, etc. Then when things are triggering you very deeply, you're gonna have a lot more motivation to go online and talk about it. And so when a reality TV becomes really popular, there's so much discussion about it online. Like that's all you see on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. And so for a short moment, you get that amazing like revival of the mainstream feeling that comes back. For instance, this summer when the last season of Love Island USA came out, it was all the rage on TikTok. And I saw this girl saying that she was watching it and she was liking it, but one of the reasons she was watching it and feeling very rewarded by it is specifically because it made TikTok a lot more fun. Because since it was all everyone was talking about at some point, like this summer, if you watched the show, you really felt a sense of community and you felt so close to all these strangers all of a sudden, and it was really fun. I was very busy during this summer, so I couldn't watch Love Island, and honestly, I felt like major FOMO. And I would still watch TikToks about what was happening, even though I wasn't watching the show. Like that's how fun it was. I think that's the same reason why we just subconsciously gravitate towards celebrity drama as well, and why content that provides commentary on celebrity drama does so well consistently throughout the years online. Because celebrities are this special class of people that are known both to you and millions of strangers around you at the same time. And that's crazy to think about. Like I could take a plane and go to the other side of the world and then talk about the divorce of some A-list celebrity, and that person could very well be like, oh my God, I also know all about it. And we could start bonding on that. Like how powerful, there's not a more powerful bonding tool and small talk tactic with a complete stranger, because we're going from being complete strangers to talking about the most intimate parts of someone's lives in the span of like 5 minutes. And this brings me to my last point, which is technically 2 points from other people. And I guess I was really lucky because as I was scripting this video, I just decided to watch a random podcast episode from Trevor Noah's What Now podcast, and that was the exact topic that was discussed. And they made some super interesting points. This episode featured, well, Trevor Noah, the host, but also two of his co-hosts, Christina and Josh, and they played a game called If I Ruled the World. And in this game, it's amazing. They each take turns saying, okay, if I was like the ruler of the world, a dictator, the one thing I would impose on everyone is XYZ. They have to explain why, and then the two others have to either say whether they agree or disagree and why. It's such a good game. And to my pleasant surprise, when it was Christina's turn, she said, when I rule the world, I will tell everyone that they need to watch at least one reality TV. And her argument, and I hadn't even thought of that, was that if you watch certain reality TV shows, such as 90 Day Fiancé or The Real Housewives, it will help you empathize and see life through the eyes of people that you never would have really come across given your environment and who you are. As such, it really helps you become more empathetic and open-minded and more conscious of the reality and the diversity that exists within the reality around you. After having listened to Christina, Josh Johnson, who's a comedian and a political comedian, I would say, and he's so funny, I recommend on YouTube, hilarious. He agreed with Christina and he actually made another great point. He actually shared a story where he was, I think, on holiday or he was just at home with his girlfriend and they decided to watch Love is Blind. And in Love is Blind, you just see a lot of romantic relationship dynamics unfold, like good and bad, all sorts. And he said that thanks to the fact that they watched that show together with his girlfriend, that enabled them just by chance to actually talk about things that otherwise would have been really awkward to talk about when you don't really have an excuse to, or would have been brought up at a much later date in a fight. And in that way, I think reality TV can be such a great way to get to know each other, whether it's your girlfriend or not, but if you're watching it with your family or when you're watching it with friends, it could be such a great way for you guys to share your personal opinions on XYZ subject. Lastly, and this is not a whole point, but let's be honest, like the production value of these shows is it's just so good. Like even when I watch the Kardashians, I don't watch like all the seasons, but when I do, part of it is also because the production value is so great and they just live in these amazing houses and they go to these amazing places. And so you love to live vicariously through these people as well. All in all, reality TV is just a great way to see people be raw and human, meaning flawed, imperfect, and messy in real life. It is also a great way to bond with people both online and offline. Maybe next time you watch reality TV, you can think about all of these things as you're watching it and then looking at the reaction online, and it'll actually make the whole experience 10 times more interesting, and it'll also open your eyes to a lot of things within society, but also within yourself. All right, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Do you also, like me, watch reality TV as if it was a guilty pleasure? Or do you just watch it without a single care in the world, which I envy you and I'm trying to get there. Also, have certain shows and or the reaction thereafter impacted you in some way? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye.